Hello and welcome. Effective signposting is the art of guiding your audience through your presentation with verbal cues. This guide will help you master phrases to discuss various issues, from challenging problems to positive outcomes, enabling you to create more cohesive and impactful presentations. Signposting serves as verbal navigation for your audience, helping them follow your presentation structure and anticipate what's coming next. Without clear signposts, even the most valuable content can become confusing or forgettable. Just as signposts guide travelers through unfamiliar territory, verbal signposts guide your audience through unfamiliar content, ensuring they never feel lost. Signposting creates a logical flow between ideas, helps the audience track complex information, signals transitions between topics, and maintains audience engagement. When a presentation requires discussing challenges or problems, specific signposting phrases can help you approach these topics diplomatically yet directly. The key is to balance honesty with constructive framing. These phrases help maintain professionalism while acknowledging challenges. To identify problems, you could say, "First, I think we need to identify the problem," or "we should deal with the problem of." To suggest action, you can use phrases like, "How shall we cope with?" or "We will have to solve this problem right away." To create urgency, you might say, "If we don't take care of this problem now," or "This issue requires our immediate attention." When you need to connect your current point to other aspects of your presentation, these signposting phrases create seamless transitions and reinforce the relationships between different ideas. For formal references, you can say, "With respect to this issue, we provide several solutions." To cite evidence, you might use a phrase like, "According to the questionnaire, our partners are not satisfied with our system," or "Based on our research findings, we can conclude that." To direct attention, you could say, "I'd like to point out some issues in connection with the management." When building an argument or explaining a complex concept, you'll need phrases that help you layer additional information smoothly. These transitions signal to your audience that you are expanding on your current point rather than moving to a new topic. Strong presentations build ideas progressively, with each new point clearly connecting to what came before. For formal additions, you might say, "Moreover, I have another suggestion." For casual additions, you can use phrases like, "In addition to the advertisement, we need to focus on other areas," or "As well as that, we need to provide effective solutions." For contrasting additions, you could say, "Apart from being too complex, this software is also too expensive." Delivering unfortunate information requires tact. These phrases help you present negative news professionally while maintaining audience trust. The graphic on the slide provides a framework for balancing directness with explanation and softening. For example, "I'm sorry to say that" expresses personal regret, while "sadly, we will not be able to" acknowledges emotional impact. For a more formal tone, you could say, "It is unfortunate that." You can also be direct yet respectful with "unfortunately." An example in context would be, "Unfortunately, the number of complaints continues to increase, with a 15% rise in the last quarter alone." Positive information deserves emphasis. These phrases help highlight good news effectively, boosting audience engagement and creating moments of optimism in your presentation. For example, "The good news is" creates anticipation. "I'm pleased to say" that shows personal satisfaction. "You'll be happy to know" that connects directly with audience interests. "We're excited to announce" conveys enthusiasm. And "I'm delighted to report" expresses a strong positive emotion. An example would be, "The good news is we'll be able to increase our sales by 22% this quarter while maintaining our current operating costs." When discussing future scenarios or consequences, these signposting phrases help clarify your predictions and expectations. Using precise language helps manage audience expectations and demonstrates confidence in your analysis. For definite predictions, you could say, "We will conduct the research as soon as possible," or "There will be an increase in production." For conditional outcomes, you might use phrases like, If we implement these changes, we can expect a 15% improvement, or should we delay the launch, there could be significant market consequences. For negative predictions, you can say, we will not, won't increase our funding, or there won't be any chances to change our target market. For probability statements, you could use phrases like, this approach is likely to yield better results, or the new system may potentially reduce errors by 30%. Just as a conductor guides an orchestra through a complex piece, effective signposting directs your audience through your presentation's narrative. You can start by setting the stage with a phrase like, today, I'd like to discuss 3 critical issues facing our project. Then, you might introduce a challenge with, unfortunately, our timeline has been compressed by 20%. To add context, you could say, with respect to our budget constraints, we need to consider. To layer information, you might use a phrase like, moreover, our team capacity has been reduced. You can then deliver good news with, the good news is we've secured additional resources. And finally, to discuss project outcomes, you could say, as a result, we will still deliver on our core objectives. To conclude, here are some key takeaways for elevating your presentation skills. First, guide your audience. Use signposting phrases consistently to create a clear path through your content, ensuring your audience never feels lost or confused. Second, balance delivery. Develop a repertoire of phrases for both positive and negative information to maintain professionalism regardless of the message. Third, connect ideas. Master transitions between points to create a cohesive narrative that builds progressively rather than jumping between disconnected topics. By incorporating these signposting techniques into your presentations, you'll communicate with greater clarity and confidence. Practice these phrases until they become second nature and watch your presentation effectiveness transform.